Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to this very powerful podcast of Bros Who Know, Irrefutably Authentic. To the right of me is the Darth Vader of podcasts, Rich Yancey. I'm Dr.Jeff LaCure, and we're coming to you today from beautiful downtown Milford. Rich, it's almost 50 degrees.
It is.
I can't believe it.
It's gorgeous out.
Yeah, we're loving it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk to you about really kind of the hidden emotional world of men. And while we do that, we'll certainly talk to you a little bit about women's emotions and how sometimes they match up really well and how sometimes they just don't. But it's a topic that actually Rich and I have received a fair amount of feedback about talking about. So I'm going to kick it off real quick for you. And I want to put things in context, Richie, kind of following up from our conversation last week about the gradual extinction of men. I want to make a clear distinction for all our viewers today that there's a difference between being a male and being a man. And we're going to talk to you 100% or 98% about men today. Men are comfortable with their emotional world. Men are confident. Men are willing to share their emotions. A lot of you may be in a relationship with a male. Males are not comfortable talking about their feelings. Males are not open and expressive about how they feel. And males have no confidence. So kind of sets it up, Rich, to sort of what we'll be talking about. Senators, Rich, I imagine in your experience, you're an experienced guy, right? And you and I have been on this earth a fair amount of time now.
Right.
I bet you've seen your share of males, and I bet you've seen your share of men.
Yes, Jeff. And I tell you something. See, more shares of males than I do of men. And I'll tell you why. See, males, they're not comfortable with their feelings. All right? And in order to be a man, you need to know all of your feelings.
That's right.
Okay? So what we do as human beings, all right, it's easy to be happy. It's easy to receive things, right? These, all the good things are easy, but all the hard things, we don't want anything to do with. Like, men want to get into a relationship, but they say, "Oh, listen, I don't want to get hurt in this relationship." You cannot get into a relationship, all right, and fall in love without the hurt.
True.
The reason why you hurt is because you're in love. So you can't have one without the other. So, when you have men indulge in their hurt. You know what I mean? They indulge in things that, bad feelings that we have, that most males reject. And when they reject that, it's almost like calluses on your hands. You're not used to it. And it will destroy you if you don't understand it.
Absolutely. I tell you, Rich, the thing I've seen the most, particularly males versus men in the emotional world, is culturally and from a societal standpoint. Go to a youth sports game with like 5, 6, 7-year-old little boys, and somebody gets kicked in the shins, and that little boy starts to cry because it hurts like hell. And there's always some yo-yo male in the stands. "Suck it up, Billy! Get back out there!" And that creates a message to that little boy that you can't show vulnerability. And I'm not going to use the words, but every viewer knows that if a man shows vulnerability, he is subject to certain name calling that no man ever wants to feel or ever hear. And so there's a psychologist out of Harvard, not a sponsor, by the way. Harvard, you need to get on board. And his name is Dr. Richard Pollack. And he did a study and then turned it into a book called Real Boys. And he talks about that really boys learn at a very early age what it means to be male and what it means to be man, or to be a man. And they learn that if you are treated like a male and act like a male, you actually are more accepted. How ironic is that? Right? If you're kind of a jerk, if you're kind of rough around the edges, if you're kind of a player, you get more respect.
Well, that's you're confident. So again,
Well, those guys aren't confident. They
Well,
act confident.
well, I'm talking about if you're more, if like I said, we're going to discuss this in depth because that, I think it's a huge issue.
Hmm.
When we're born with an identity, okay, whether it be male or female. Can you give me that? Because I don't think we can say that. All right. So when you're born, right, you have a personality, okay, but until you're never going to know who you are until you understand all of your feelings, not half of your feelings, all of your feelings. Meaning meaning the sad, when you're sad, meaning when you get hurt, meaning like all the bad feelings you have, all those emotions. You have to get to know that side of you too, because if you don't know that side of you, you're not whole. Can you give me
Excellent
that?
point.
Okay. So you have to become whole. After you become whole, then you have a decision to make. And we brought this up in the first. I think at the first podcast.
Hmm.
And that decision is, and I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, is that you have to make it either it's going to be just about you. Now, if you make it just about you, that's all you're going to have at the end, right?
Hmm.
Or you can make it about everyone else, and then you'll have everyone else. So it's never about you, but it will be. We talked about that before.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that. So when you can't run away from the hurt.
Hmm.
You just can't. Because once you indulge in, the first time you get hurt, you indulge in that,
Hmm.
it's still going to hurt, but it has a time period.
Right.
So if you push your hurt away, it's going to take longer to heal.
Much
If
longer.
you indulge in it, you're building up like your calluses
Hmm.
of your emotions.
That's right.
And once that happens the first time and the second time and the 100th time,
Hmm.
now you say to yourself, when you get into a relationship, because we're going to talk about relationships later on,
Hmm.
you say, listen, I'm willing to get hurt for you. Okay? Being hurt is not a bad thing. Feelings are meant for you to sit there and say, okay, should I do this or not?
Right.
Or should I get involved in this or not? Because sometimes, if you understand your emotions, this is how you make a decision. If you have a girl that you're talking to, and she has all these problems, right? But you still like her, you say to yourself, listen, I really like this girl, but do I want to go through all these steps and get hurt over this?
Right. Risk getting hurt.
Right, risk getting hurt over this,
Right.
and then you might say to yourself, no. But if you don't understand your emotions, you just go by the good feeling. Oh, she makes me feel good, so I want to hang out with her.
That's right.
And then you go into a relationship and you get hurt.
Right.
Okay, so once you understand your emotions, now you're qualified
Hmm.
to be in a relationship, Jeff.
I would agree, and you have to. And one of the things we're going to talk about are healthy relationships, as Rich mentioned, including dating. And if you want to attract a healthy guy, you yourself have to be healthy, and vice versa. If we want to attract healthy women, we got to be healthy. I want to highlight, pick up on something you said as far as hurt and those kinds of feelings and sadness. The interesting way that society has taught boys to deal when they have hurt feelings or sadness is they play out through anger. As a matter of fact, I'll give you an example. If you show me an angry young man, I know underneath that anger is sadness and hurt, but they haven't been raised to feel comfortable in their sadness and hurt, whereas males have been raised that it's okay to express anger. It's not okay to express sadness and hurt. It's sort of the gladiator mentality. And I want to highlight a unique difference between men and women culturally. Males who have feelings of hurt or sadness will bottle it up. No wonder we have heart attacks at a higher rate than women. They bottle it up, and then it comes out through explosion or anger. What a lot of women do, ironically, is when they feel sort of that sadness or hurt, instead of exploding like a lot of males do, they actually hurt themselves, which is why I believe, as a clinician, that we actually see depression more in women. Why? Because women tend to hold it in because they weren't raised that their voice was valuable or that it had value. And so, as you could see today, our viewers, we're really touching upon something really important, that you have to be comfortable in your emotions.
And that's easier said than done, because like I said, you have to practice that. That's just like we go to the gym, Jeff. You have to practice that every day.
That's right.
Because, like I said, so with males, or let's say with men, okay? So men, just like you said, men, when we get upset, we take care of business, meaning something physical or going out there and taking care of the problem. That's how we release the energy that we have.
Great way to
okay?
release it.
When we can't release that energy, if we keep it inside, that's how we get depressed. So I'm telling you guys that if you can't release that energy, then cry. That's another way you can release it. And let me tell you something. Crying's okay now for men.
Can I jump in on
Yeah,
something there, Rich?
crying's
I'm
okay
glad
now
you're
for
bringing
me.
up tears. There are two chemically different tears that we cry. Scientifically proven. That's been researched. Is that, you got allergies or something, or you get something in your eye, and your eyes tear up. Those tears are substantially different chemically than the tears we release when we're sad or when we're in pain. And we know that the body's way of dealing with some certain emotions or certain feelings is to cry. And I'll tell you, I'm going to say it right now, and I'm not just saying it because I cry comfortably and often. I'm saying it because it's true. Remember I talked to you about, I bet you've known some males and known some men. The men I respect, the only men I respect, are men that allow themselves to feel the full range of emotion. They can express anger, they can express love, they can express sadness, they can express joy. And males can't do it. Males are kind of restricted. And I love when I'm in my office, right, and I'm counseling somebody, and I do a lot of work with men. That sometimes my office is the only place that they feel safe enough to not be judged, to talk about a divorce, to talk about the death of a best friend, to talk about the loss of their job, and that emotion just comes out. And I'm telling you, even though these are men, a lot of times what happens, and Dr. Pollack from Harvard University called it this, they put on the mask of masculinity. And they leave my office, and they have a release, Rich. But when they walk out those doors, they put that tough guy mask back on, because no one wants to be called those 6 words that we call little boys who show their emotion. What do you think?
Like I said, Jeff, I'm gonna say this over and over again. You're not qualified as a woman or a man until you understand all of your emotions.
Absolutely.
And the reason for that is because if you go into a relationship and you say, I don't want to get hurt, you're not qualified to be in a relationship. If you go into a relationship and you say, I don't want to get hurt, you're not qualified to be in a relationship. Because at that point, you're not ready to love. If you love, you're going to get hurt.
That's right.
And how you look at it is this. If you have 10 years with someone, right, and you love them, and for some reason that you left them or if it didn't work, that's what you focus on. The hurt part, if after that's over, now you're paying for it. Now the payment's due. Okay, that's what that is. You got nothing's for free in this world. The payment's due. If you're never going to be hurt, that means you're never in love. That means you don't love anyone. So I'm not saying that you run away from your emotions. I'm not saying that a man should suppress his emotion. I'm saying a man should indulge in all of his emotions,
That's
because
right.
at that point, he becomes a black belt.
That's right.
Okay? And what a black belt can do is this. He's never mad at you. Okay, so if you said if whatever your problems are, he's not going to be mad at you. And if you're in a relationship, he's going to be mad at himself because he might have did something wrong. But he understands that you are your own person. You make your own decisions, and he's going to back you up. Just as a man, a man's going to back you up in any decision you make. Now, he might do one thing. A man might do one thing. If he doesn't like what you do, he'll just leave.
Yeah.
But what he won't do is he's not going to tell you not to do it. He's going to support you in every way. Vice versa. So a woman, same thing. You're not qualified to be in a relationship until you can understand all your emotions, full range. When you get hurt, it's okay to be hurt. So hurt is not bad. That's part of you. It's how you deal with that hurt. It's going to make you who you are. So again, you're born with an identity. You're born being a male or a female. You're born with your own personality. But you're not you until you understand your emotions.
That's right. And I want to follow up on what Rich is talking about, that we're going to talk about this a little bit later today when we do part 1 of our about healthy relationships, because as Rich is highlighting, you can't have a healthy relationship unless you're both in tune with how you feel.
Exactly.
And to all the single people out there, in YouTube world and social media world, let me highlight something. If you constantly end up dating or getting in relationships with people who aren't emotionally expressive, don't point the finger. Take a serious look in the mirror, because I would challenge your emotional health as far as how comfortable are you expressing things. See, it's very interesting. Let me just highlight this one. This one drives me nuts, and it happens all the time, but it's such a wonderful emotion. You've talked so eloquently, consistently, Rich, about love, right? Love is cool. Yet so many people in relationships, including men, will go, love you, or love you too. And the most important vowel in the word love is I. I love you. I care about you. I miss you. And if you really want to make somebody feel loved, Rich, you have to express it. Right? It's not about buying them stuff. You have to express it. You have to show it. You have to feel it. And you have to be able to say I, not sorry.
Right. No,
you have to be able to say
I'll
sorry.
I'll go deeper than that. You have to be able to love you. Love yourself.
Absolutely.
You can't love anyone unless you love yourself.
You got no shot.
Because let me tell you something. If you think when you tell someone that, tell a woman that you've been with for long, don't leave me, I love you more than anything. No, you don't love her more than anything, because you don't want her to leave you because you can't handle the pain. That's not love.
Because you're half full instead of full.
When someone loves you, they say, listen, if you don't like me, you don't want to be with me, I want you to be with someone that you love. I love you that much. I'm willing to get hurt for you.
That's right.
That's love, Jeff.
That is love.
And men, how do you get there? I'm going to tell you how you get there. If you don't like watching scary movies, watch scary movies until it's not scary anymore. If you don't like sad movies, watch sad movies, okay, until you're not sad anymore. You have to indulge in every emotion you have. And once you do that, you'll be a black belt. And I'm going to tell you something. Now you're qualified to love. Loving someone is not, I'll love you, you can't leave me. That's not love.
That's not love. That's
loving someone to
insecurity.
say, listen, I love you so much, I have your back on everything. I'm not saying I'll be there, but I have your back. I always, you know what I call that? I'm willing to lose for you. When you're willing to lose for someone, that's love, Jeff.
That's a great example of love. So as you can see, you guys are getting a nice taste, a nice sample of the bros who know tips for success.
I gotta tell you, if I don't know, no bro's gonna know. Because because that's why I wear black all the time. I'm telling you, Jeff, this is, despite of what you might think about us, how we work out and everything like that, right? I am familiar with my emotions. That's a fact. And that's a gift I'm trying to give each and every one of you. Because once you do that, you can enjoy life. Now, I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. Like, now you're qualified for everything. You're qualified to watch a scary movie. You're qualified to watch a sad movie. You're qualified to talk to your friends. Your friends, because when you understand all your emotions, you'll never get hurt. I don't care what people say about me. Matter of fact, if you looked at Bros You Knows on YouTube, I got attacked. You can look that up yourself. It's on Facebook. Yeah. I got attacked, and I'm okay with that.
Good.
You know what I mean? Because that brings up that's the reason why we're doing this.
Quick interjection though. I believe the person that posted something, and we want you to post. Please comment. Please subscribe. Please spread the word. We don't mind if you say we love it or don't love it, because we're going to keep doing what we do. But here's the thing. The person that had some negative feedback to something Rich said didn't even have the courage to post their picture next to it.
Did you see that?
Yeah. So they do it anonymously. See, that was a male.
A male.
A male doesn't have the courage and conviction behind their opinion.
Right.
Men do. And it's kind of switch it back to emotions. And actually, as we're sort of talking about love, which is going to lead us to our podcast later today, again, I want to reinforce what Rich said. If you don't love yourself, you have no shot of truly loving other people. And what we understand about it is that people who love themselves, they want a relationship. They don't need a relationship. Let me show you this bottle. This is great. This is from Shaw's, by the way, Rich. Not a sponsor. Should be a sponsor, but I'm going to use their water because it's refreshing. Take a look. I've already had some. This is how a lot of people feel in life. They don't feel full and complete on their own, Rich. So they look for someone else to complete them. There's nobody out there that completes us. We have to feel complete first.
They could add to
we
it.
have to fill this up. And for those of you out there that continue to date these people, you continue to make me a very wealthy man. Why do you make me a wealthy man? Because then you have to come in for couples counseling, because I have to point out that you're both not full, that you're both not
But
complete.
Jeff, that's a lot of people, though, Jeff. That's a lot of
It's
people.
a
But
lot
see,
of people.
The problem with this society now, Jeff, is that people have to go. Women and men are going to work, and if you're already a type of person that cannot, that doesn't want to get hurt, that if you have a problem, it bothers you, then that's just going to compile like over time. It's just going to, it's just going to add to. But today, if you watch this podcast today, start today. It's one of those things where you can start at any time. And the reason why you want to know your emotions, because at that point, you're going to know who you are. At that point, when someone says, "Who are you?" You're going to know. You're going to tell them who you are. You know what I mean? And when you get into a relationship, both you guys don't have baggages now. So what happens is this: if I'm going to be in a relationship with you, right? Whatever's behind me is taken care of. My daughter's taken care of. My house is taken care of. My business is taken care of. So what I have in front of you is a pure relationship going forward. And that's how you have to be in your relationship. Now, when you meet someone, you have two people that take care of both their sides. Okay, now guys can have a relationship. But if I got baggage and you got baggage, we're just
all
putting
done.
the baggage together. Now we have one big bag of,
Bag,
what?
A bag, big bag.
Big bag. So
it's too much.
So you got to start from the beginning. You got to work on yourself.
That's right.
And then, so I'm going to say to you, 98%, 98% of you guys are not qualified for a relationship.
I'd actually agree. And there's statistics behind it. I'm going to highlight something else too, Rich, because I just realized how I was sitting. So Friday night, I'm playing poker with the guys. I think the majority of guys I play poker with fit the qualifications for men. But they turned on our podcast, right? Because they had heard about it. Some of them have seen it, and they said, "Oh, turn on Jeff and Richie's podcast." Do you know what 3 of them commented on right away? And I know it's poker, and part of it's to bust chops. How I was sitting.
Of course.
They made fun of how I was sitting, and so I just want to tell you, men can sit comfortably with their legs crossed. And the reason I sit this way is it's real comfortable, because I have constant lower back pain. So when I sit like this, I don't get the same lower back support. When I sit like this, what I heard from some of my poker buddies, and I know this for sure, is they question sexuality.
Well, that's another thing, Jeff.
That's not a cool thing to do,
Jeff,
based on how someone would sit. So I'm sitting this way today out of comfort, but comfortable enough in my masculinity to say, I don't care what people guess about my sexuality.
And I'm going to tell you something, I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't care if you're gay, I don't care if you're fat, skinny, ugly, good looking, male, female. If you know your emotions, you're going to be a strong individual.
Right.
Okay? So, when we're talking about men, but we're really talking about everyone. I'm telling men, a man just means that you know your emotions, you know who you are. Now you have created value within yourself. Because it's easy, like I said, it's easy to just love someone. Yeah, if you find a girl, it's easy to love her. But now, since you love her, can you give her unconditional love? What is unconditional love? Unconditional love is when you're willing to hurt for that person. If you can't hurt for that person, it's not unconditional love. So so if you, again, I don't care what, I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what your sexuality is.
We don't care.
We don't care. All we care about is this. Once you understand your emotions, I can trust you now.
That's right.
Now I can trust you.
Trust is
because
the
if you're
base.
jealous of me, I can't trust you.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be jealous of you. I might say, listen, you got something better than me. You look better than me, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to have your back no matter what, because I'm never going to, because now since I have value with myself, I'm not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize that, Jeff.
Rich, I can pick up on that. Because insecure guys or insecure women can rarely say something positive to somebody. Because of their insecurity of self and emotion, they look to tear somebody down. Right. You and I have already seen it, right?
Of course.
We're loving doing this podcast, by the way, and our numbers are growing, and we thank you. And again, please subscribe, please spread the word. But you know what else Rich and I have heard? We've heard a lot of nice feedback. But the insecure people love to comment, not on what Rich and I said. Let me be clear. no one particularly has been, maybe people don't agree and so on, but no one's complained about the quality of the podcast. But you know what I hear people say, Rich, and I know you've heard it too. I heard, hey, you look gay, Jeff, because you're sitting there with your legs crossed. How that determines someone's sexuality, I guess a heterosexual man, I don't know. I don't get it.
You're not
But
gay.
you know what? And you know you've heard it, and I've heard it. People are dogging you because you're being you. You're wearing your tight T-shirt. You're wearing all black, but he's being himself.
And the thing is,
so instead of trying to tear him down, don't tear him down. Respect the fact that he's being irrefutably
authentic. Listen, and I don't see that's what because the first thing they say is, well, what are you gonna do? Beat me up? Look, I'm not beating up anyone.
We don't even have to.
I don't. Cause let me tell you something. If you can't take, I take care of myself. I work out. I like wearing black because that's just what I do. Okay?
That's your thing.
And if you can't take me, then you got your own problems.
Right.
Okay. So I'm not worried about the way you look at life. Life is gonna take care of you.
That's right.
All right. So I don't worry about stuff like that. The good feedback we have is great. Okay. And I would extend this to those guys. Look, if you're hiding behind a keyboard and you're talking trash about me, your life is not good.
That's right.
Because I'm gonna tell you something.
That's right.
You have a guy in a Ferrari, but if he can't go into the bad parts of the town, he's not qualified for a Ferrari. Okay?
That's right.
I can take my Ferrari anywhere I want. Okay. So.
And I encourage you to do it.
So and that's just, I don't have a Ferrari. I'm just trying to tell you.
Not yet.
I'm qualified. Okay, I'm qualified to talk to you in your eyes. I'm qualified to talk to you, and if I have a relationship, you already know who I am. I'm willing to lose for you. But anyways, that's so basically what we're saying is this, Jeff. Before you even get into relationships, look in the mirror. Wherever you feel that you can get hurt, strengthen that part of you. Mm-hmm. Understand that part of you, and understand that it's okay to be hurt, because if you're willing to love, you have to indulge in the hurt too. And you can't have one without the other.
And it's okay. This is what we're trying to do for you. We're trying to validate for men and women. Not only is it okay that you get hurt and you have to risk being hurt to get into a relationship, you got to be okay in expressing it. By expressing emotion, you're stronger. Here's what I tell my clients all the time. They walk through the door, right, and they think that they're weaker than other people. And I go, oh, God, no. You are stronger and more courageous than other people. It's the people that drive by my office and never stop and never come in. They're the weak ones. My clients who come in, Rich, they demonstrate strength. You know why?
Because they came
in. That's right. They came in and let me just close this loop. They want to talk about emotions. They don't come in to talk about sports. They don't come in to talk about the Cowboys game last night. They come the weather. They come in to talk about emotions. They want to learn how to be more comfortable with it. What I want you to take away is, particularly as a man, get comfortable admitting sometimes you're vulnerable, and get really comfortable sometimes being able to ask others for help. That's really a sign of strength, Rich. Being able to ask someone else, hey, for help. It's not always we have to give help. There's the classical joke that men don't ask for directions because we want to figure it out ourselves, even if it makes us 2 hours late. By the way, men will never change that because that's just who we are. But what I want our viewers to take away, Rich, is it's okay for men sometimes to be able to ask for help, to ask for a little advice.
And I want you to take away from this. If you, male or female, if you guys are about to go into a relationship, but you're afraid of getting hurt, you're not qualified for a relationship. Because at that point, you're limiting your love, okay? And treat every day. Like when you're in a relationship, that's a start of a new chapter. Enjoy it.
That's right.
Don't worry about getting hurt. Because let me tell you something. If you're with them long enough, you're going to get hurt because they'll pass away or something like that. Yeah.
It's coming.
So, the hurt part is always going to be there, but that's okay.
That's right.
And that's okay. And I think.
Yeah, Rich, I'll tell you, let's close this one down. And I'm going to close Bros Who Know, another important conversation this way. And I want to add something quickly. A study just came out that more and more men are, because of the shutdown, more and more men are not seeing their doctors. More and more men are not having necessary medical tests. And I'm here to tell you, one of the most important medical tests a man will get over the age of 40 is his PSA. So to all the men out there and to all the women who love those men, to your father, to your brothers, to your sons, and to yourselves, please go out and get your annual PSA exam. Prostate cancer is wonderfully treatable if you catch it early. If you don't, you will have a death sentence. And on behalf of bros who know, this is a bro who knows. We wish you a lot of hope. We wish you a lot of peace. And we hope in some small way we helped you become more comfortable with who you are. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Very good. How long was that?
30-ish minutes.
Okay.